The Corvette C8 has been without a doubt one of the biggest trending topics in the automotive industry for 2019. A mid-engine Corvette that has been decades in the making is certainly going to stir things up, but I can already tell you that GM has spent an ample amount of time not just designing this car, but building out how this car would define the future of the Corvette brand. We are less than 6 months from when GM first unveiled the C8, and we already are getting confirmation on technical aspects of the Z06 and the ZR1 version of the new platform. Leaks have always occurred, but not quite like this. And my opinion is that this has all been part of their game. The anticipation has led to record orders for the base car, but most likely there are many people waiting on the higher performance models that are yet to come. And as incredible as the base C8 Corvette seems to be given the reviews that we've had so far, the ZR1 seems to be the real headliner here. This platform all leads to this car, the mid-engine Corvette making roughly 900 horsepower through the use of a hybrid setup that is all-wheel drive. You can push the base and the Z06 models of this car aside as non-exotic material if you want, but there is zero denying that a car with that setup is not top-tier exotic material. And information on the ZR1 isn't even speculation at this point. We have multiple sources, from GM engineers to official documents that are released showing certain aspects of the future ZR1. So let's dive into what we know and what it means for the Corvette C8 going forward. Now, speculation has been going on for a while now that the ZR1 would come with some sort of V8 setup with electric motors. The latest documents released go into full detail of what electric motors are being developed for the ZR1. That being said, this is the developmental stage for the car, so anything from here is subject to change if they have issues with the build. However, with the amount of time that they've already spent building out this design and their goal to have a long-term product plan, this should be fairly accurate with only small changes ahead. It was originally believed the ZR1 would get the new twin-turbo V8, then tack on some electric motors from there, but it's now believed that the LT2 engine from the base is actually going to be used. Chevrolet then looks to add electric drive units in the front that have a peak output rating of 114 horsepower. The documents show that the torque will be claimed at 111 pound-feet of torque. The electric motors then can spin at 16,000 RPM. We don't have the final breakdown on this yet, as one of the electric motors would not be enough to push the car into the 900 horsepower range, but it could mean that we may have multiple hybrids coming. A base hybrid that would be stacked against something like the Acura NSX in terms of power output, then a higher power rated hybrid that we've heard of with 900 horsepower. My hope is more clarification comes in the coming months on this topic. I do, however, want to talk a bit more in depth on what we know about the electric motors being used. First, many people associate hybrids with the fuel-saving vehicles, but this will certainly not be the case with the Corvette, as you can imagine. Much like the NSX, the batteries have high output potential but contain small amounts of storage, so they're designed to provide bursts of power and not drive around in electric mode. While the car will most likely drive fully electric at slow speeds around town, the time at which it's capable of doing so will be very low. But you as well as I know that we're not interested in the car getting great gas mileage. I'm all for improved MPG, but not at the expense of performance. This isn't the car you buy to try and save money at the pump. The electric motor itself will sit up front and be tied to what documents are showing as an open differential. Again, much like the NSX, it would appear the car will provide all-wheel drive along with torque vectoring. This means the car should be able to push different amounts of power to certain wheels, helping with handling. I have to say, it's hard to think about driving a Corvette that will be all-wheel drive, but with the power this car will make, the new setup and handling will be even better over an already incredible handling setup. This car will truly be the car people can push to the limits and not worry about the car stepping out on them when they least expect it. All of the essential components for the car will be fitted into the center tunnel case, which you can see in the cutouts that I have for you over the base C8. The documents show Chevrolet has used the RESS, or Rechargeable Energy Storage System. This houses all of the components that feed and control the electronic axle. Another cutout I have for you shows where the electric drive unit will sit. To give you a basic layout of the car, its electronical components, I have an illustration done by Jason Torchinsky. As you can see, the electric drive unit and its coolers sit up front, while the battery pack and central power electronics sit in the tunnel that divides both the driver and the passenger seats. With the engine being at the rear, Chevrolet no longer needs to worry about running the power down the center of the vehicle from the engine to the rear wheels. Now we have all this room for electronic motors in the front, as well as the electronic components that come with them. Due to the addition of new electric motors in the front, the ZR1 will need to change the design of its dampers, as the standard does not have the room in the middle for the axle shaft to pass through it. A new split yoke damper will help fix this problem and allow for ample space. The Tesla Model 3 all-wheel drive version actually uses this setup currently. Moving on from there, we now have confirmation from the documents that the ZR1 project has attached to it the code J57 for its brakes setup. Chevrolet's code J57 translates to carbon ceramic brakes. Most likely, we will get some sort of two-piece carbon ceramic rotor to help bring the new hybrid to a halt, which is welcomed as this car will accelerate incredibly quick from the hybrid layout, so stopping is going to be just as important. The last topic I want to talk about is weight distribution. It's already been noted that the base C8 Corvette does have understeer. Chevrolet said this is due to their prediction that it will help keep less skilled drivers safer. The new Corvette will drive unlike any Corvette before it. If you've never driven a mid-engine car, you'd be shocked at the difference that it makes from having the engine being planted behind you. It is certainly not just a change in looks for the car, but a true change in driving dynamics. Going from my Corvette C6 to my mid-engine based Audi R8 showed me just how big of a difference that is, and it takes a lot of getting used to. And honestly, because of how incredible my R8 handles is the reason that I'm purchasing the Corvette C8. I put down a deposit the day it was available at my local dealer because I knew this car would be something special. But that extra special feat comes from the mid-engine layout. But as GM says, that can be a shock to many people as the handling change can be a difficult transition to get used to, so they stuck with understeer. Most likely, we can expect the Z06 and ZR1 versions of the car to have a different weight split. Currently, the base C8 is roughly 60% rear, 40% front, but I would expect it to be less weight biased to the rear than that in the coming models. And that will help give the car a better feel and more predictability in terms of track driving, which is what these cars will be built for. So there you have it, everyone. Confirmation that GM is going to be placing electronic motors in their highest variants of the C8 Corvette. Luckily, we have plenty of information showing us that the Z06 will remain non-hybrid, as I would venture to guess not everyone wants a hybrid design or the all-wheel drive drivetrain. So let me know what your thoughts are on this new information and whether this is the right direction for GM to be taking. As you can imagine, I will be following this very closely, and I'll keep you all up to date on any more information we get in the coming months. The last thing I wanted to add to today's video is that Chevrolet now has the convertible option available to be built on their website. The coupe up until now was only available, so anyone who's been pending orders for a Corvette convertible C8, you can now fully spec it on their website. It looks really good, and it's a fun way to spend some time if you want to see what your car will look like. I will add a link in my pinned comment below, so make sure you go out and check it out. It surely is an amazing time to see where the Corvette C8 platform is going. Thank you all so much for checking out my video. If you found it helpful or just interesting, please support my channel and hit that like button. If you feel I have anything I can improve on, let me know below in the comments section. If this is your first time checking out my channel, think about subscribing. We would absolutely love to have you join our community. On my channel, I try to provide up-to-date information on the Corvette C8 that's very detailed, but we'll be providing you with up-close and personal vlogs over the ownership of my Corvette C8. As of now, my hopeful delivery date is sometime late March or early April. Unfortunately, due to the strike, it's been led to being pushed back in delivery dates, so that has affected me as my original date was somewhere in late February or early March. I will of course keep you all updated on that buying process, so make sure you do have that bell notification hit so you can see when my latest video drops. As always, take care and I'll see you next video.